Before we get going, I just want to say that, we're missing a person here that, our thoughts and prayers go out to Lori and the 12th Man Foundation and you guys, members of the media, because of the passing of Homer Jacobs, and he'll be missed. He's missed now. So I really don't have another statement. You want questions? Just go ahead.
Could you just talk about the quality of the 12th Man magazine? I mean, he's done an exceptional job.
Exceptional job, and as a publication, but as a tool of information for our former students, a way to really publicize our athletic programs across the board, not just football. You look at the covers. Shoot, I learn stuff out of there all the time, and get to know. You're in this in a large athletic program where we're spread out a little bit, and you get to read about different programs, and specifically our student athletes here at Texas A&M. It's not only an educational tool for our former students, but it's also a recruiting tool, because I think what it does is it gives identity to our student athletes, more than just a number, but some background into where they're from, what our programs are about, and the people that work here. So, 12th Man Magazine does a fantastic job.
As good as Kenny was, obviously on Thursday, looking at the film, what did you pick out that he did really well that maybe you didn't see right away, and when maybe some things that he could work on?
He's got a lot of things to work on. He's his eyes were a little bit too much all over the place, but he's able to get away with it the other night. He took care of the ball except for a couple times. The ad-lib shovel pass. It was really loud in the stadium, so he couldn't hear exactly what I said, which was probably good. And he threw a bad ball in the back of the end zone, running to the right, throwing it back to the left, and there's some things that we've talked about in between there. But those are the blatant things that jump out at you that can come back and really hurt you, particularly in the red zone, which is an emphasis for us to be better. So, a lot of those things that happen when you have a completion percentage like that. I think he had one ball knocked down and one sack. It says a lot about your offensive line. It says a lot about your running back, since the number of blitzes that they brought after the first series was just about every other snap of some sort. It was at least 5-man pressure. So the ability for our offensive line to pick that up, but our running backs also to handle it, and everybody's got to be on the same page, receivers. So, he operated at a high level, but there had to be 10 other people, like we talked about, coming into that game, make it easy on him. And I also thought our offensive staff and Jake Spavital had an excellent plan early to get him in a rhythm, get our offense in a rhythm that made it quarterback friendly, just like we talked about over the course of camp, with some short throws, getting the tempo going, getting us feeling comfortable, and not taking the ball down the field early until he felt comfortable. And as we got across midfield, that was the case. So he says he's comfortable now. He just, so he's ready to take the ball down the field early. I guess we'll see. We got a week of practice. We'll figure it out.
You made mention of, I think it was last year, effort tape for your effort guys. Who were your effort guys this week?
There's a bunch of them on there. We watch that as a team, and what we try to do is develop. Actually, it's the first year here that develop what we want for everybody. See, because I think it's different. A lot of as a spectator, it's a little bit different than the team. Guys play, and the offense comes off the field, and they're worried about what happened in that series. The defense comes off the field. They don't see what's going on out there. They hear the crowd yell. They might stand up and see it. You might see the TV copy. But I think it's really important for other players on the team to see the kind of effort that certain people give offensive linemen or pursuit angles or guys giving extra effort that may or may not have had their name called. And you know, a lot of that was receivers on the perimeter blocking. That yeah, they got their names called for a lot of different things. Like Malcolm, we caught 14 passes, but he and Speedy and Ricky and Pope, those guys were really, really physical on the perimeter, and for this offense to go, that has to be the case. So I think it's important for people to see that, because sometimes as a D lineman, you think those guys are just pretty boys out there catching the ball and getting all the glory. And when you see them getting dirty or hitting people and knocking them down or playing without the football, it creates an unselfish attitude. And so, yeah, that's – yeah, there's a bunch of them. But like I said, I thought the receivers were on there, a bunch of them. Running backs and pass protection, even though they ran the ball hard, you got a guy that's running from me to you full speed. You got to zigzag in and out and hit him face up before he runs into the quarterback. That takes some smarts, and it takes some toughness, and it takes effort to do that. And it takes some unselfishness. And so, you know, there were things like that. There were some pursuit situations. I thought our defense, although there was a lot of room for improvement, I think the biggest difference for us was there were a number of times where we had 7, 8, 9 guys hatched to the ball, which we didn't have last year, which was more like 2012 than 2013 from a pursuit and as Coach Snyder will say, population to the ball situation. You know, you saw that. That's something that's been an emphasis, and I think, you know, you could see a little bit of a difference in that. So, yeah, those are things that we're trying to promote and things we're trying to encourage, and instead of just guys seeing it, instead of saying, here's the example of what we're looking for, and pointing out guys that, you know, that are doing that the way we want it.
Kenny mentioned pretty interesting the last few days as he's kind of had some sudden thing on his program through it. How have you seen him handle the sudden attention?
He's been the same to me. You know, it's you know, our practice schedule we set up before. We didn't get back here to, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, so we didn't practice Friday. And then, was that the wind?
Rain.
Rain? Oh, that's great. I guess we'll be indoors today, huh? All right. Yeah, we got back here at 1 or 2 in the morning, and then players had Friday off. Coaches came in the afternoon. We practiced and watched the video Saturday. So, and really, we're in here Saturday morning and practiced, and they were out of here by 1. So, because we started school this week, and we practiced yesterday on Labor Day, so I gave them an opportunity if they wanted to go home. You know, like a lot of guys live close, to get out of here at 1 o'clock and take Sunday before they get back. So we really haven't had a bunch of conversations until Monday. And, you know, I think the really good thing about it was that we got back late. Friday people talked about it, but everybody was on to the other games Saturday. And I'm just like, he's probably just like me and everybody else. We all sat around and watched football Saturday afternoon and Saturday night and shoot Sunday night and last night. So there's, you know, in a way, for a young guy, that kind of deflected a little bit of the attention instead of all that happening at the same time. So, you know, we'll see how he handles it. You know, whether he plays, you know, everybody's going to have their opinion. If he plays the same way, if he plays, you know, people will draw whatever, but I don't think his demeanor has changed. Yeah, I think, you know, he was upstairs watching video a few minutes ago on his own. That hadn't changed. So, you know, if he's learned anything, it's his approach. And I think you get that by, you know, him traveling last year and being a part of those different environments, I think helped. But certainly his demeanor helps immensely just because he's so calm. Now, you don't want that out of your linebackers or anything else, but, you know, the same things that make you upset about him, just kind of in practice yawning and stuff like that, you know, it probably helps him in a situation like that. I think is what Spav said, he has 0 nerves, huh? Yeah, that's about right.
How
tough of a blow was it to lose AJ? He's playing real well, and then how do you?
Yeah, that hurts. I mean, here's a guy that we recruited heavily, and didn't get here in time. You know, we got here in December, and he had really made his decision to go to TCU, and we tried to still talk him into coming, but he went, and then then he sits out a year. He comes and has a great deal, great off season, looks great, and really was a physical force for us, and a guy that can run around and play a number of positions, but a position that we needed. And that's going to be it's a dislocation. He had a plate and 9 or 10 screws put in that thing. So it's a pretty serious deal, and we're going to have to get some recovery, but that'll hurt us.
How do you fill that gap?
Tommy's played a lot of football here last year. He's got to step up and be a guy. We've got Justin Bass, who has been able to play a number of positions for us, which will probably have to lean a little bit more on him. But Terralaka is going to be pressed into some duty. You don't want to move one guy and then leave Donnie Baggs, who's now playing pretty well. Leave him exposed where if something happens over there, because Donnie is playing special teams too, and because of the amount of nickel that we were playing, Donnie was off the field, so he was playing a lot of special teams. And some of the teams that we're going to play here in the next 2-3 weeks will be more of a nickel situation than a 3 linebacker situation because of their ability to spread the field, throw the football, etc. So, we'll see. We'll see where we are. We've got to keep developing our nickel package. And then, I thought we did a good job last Thursday of mixing up our 3 down, 4 down front by situation and creating some pass rush. Probably our biggest difference on defense was we didn't get a lot of sacks. But I thought we did get some enough quarterback hits and enough times to move the quarterback off the spot to make the quarterback work a little bit to be accurate. So that's coming. If we can continue to get those guys going, it gives us some flexibility up front. But to answer your question, these next 3 weeks are a different type of football, and we've got to hold off until there's a possibility in the next couple of weeks we're going to get Sean Washington back. And that'll be a big deal because he was having a really, really, really fine fall camp. So he's probably a couple of weeks away, believe it or not. And, we'll see.
How much are you looking forward to playing the first game in the renovated stadium and everything that comes along with the first home game?
Really looking forward to it. It's we've been in there a couple times. And you can tell the difference. We turn the speakers on, and there's a definite echo on the other side now that was not there because it was open. It's just different in there now. You're down lower, the wall. You can see where a year from now it's going to be absolutely ridiculous, but right now it's something else. So you're down lower. For us, from an entry standpoint, coming right down that tunnel and coming out the south end zone is kind of neat. We don't have to walk all the way around anymore. It's a little bit quicker trip, but it's the grass is. We've seen the grass take a lot more in the last week. We won't get back out there till Thursday. This rain has really helped the last couple of days, so I'm not really complaining about the rain, but we're excited. I think our fans will be excited to be in there. Our guys get some energy that when we walk out there too. So, we got a chance to have one of the largest crowds to ever see a college football game in the state of Texas this weekend, and for a lot of these games this year. And that's a great opportunity and something that our guys will never forget.
How do you expect Cam Cleary and London expecting this week?
I don't know that Cam will be ready to go this week. We'll see.
Kevin, your middle approach this week is last week, you know, the outside people are saying you've got no chance and you went in and dominated. Now everybody's patting them on the back for what a great job they did. Does that change what you do with the guys at all mentally?
No, I still don't think people think we're any good. So we're going to keep going with that.
Yeah, I know you guys recruit these guys to do that, but to get impact so quickly from some true freshmen like Watson, Garrett, and Henderson, and Speedy, just describe how helpful that was.
It is. I think, you know, like I said, Sam, beforehand, they've got the talent. You worry about how they're going to react in that atmosphere. You know, we came in and we call it the Julian Obioha effect here. You know, Julian, when he got here as a freshman, first of all, he was a guy that nobody ever thought was going to play his freshman year. I'll point that out again. And he started every game since he's been here. But he played really well when we were on the practice field. Every time we came into Kyle Field, he just, for whatever reason, he just lost his mind. And so, you know, we had to start getting back in there with him a bunch. And so because of the stadium renovation, I was a little worried. You know, we went in there one time and did some things, and we had guys just kind of lose their minds. And so, you know, whatever, when you have a change of, it doesn't seem like much. For some guys, when the environment changes, it can affect their play, affect their demeanor. And you heard me a week ago talk about that's the only thing we were worried about. Can they play? Yeah. But was the atmosphere, was the stage, was that going to be too big for them? And, you know, it's pretty good when you have a guy like Armani Watts say, this is the best day of my life. So I don't think he was really worried about playing. So I kind of like that. We need more guys like that.
We know that you'll play young players, and in a way, you'll hire young coaches too. I mean, Jake was a GA in 2010, as recently as that. I guess you're friends with his family for a long time. How have you seen Jake grow just in these last several years?
Yeah, Jake was with us at Houston, right. And yeah, he's and his brother is still at Houston, and his brother was a GA for us at Oklahoma, and one of the guys that I hired and brought him to Houston. So yeah, I've known the family a long time, and the interesting one's a DB coach and one's a quarterback guy. So, you know, and their dad's been a head coach for a long time. But, you know, they've grown a lot. I think, you know, we have I think we try to provide a culture for coaches to grow. I think one of the great things that happened with me, you know, when being around great coaches like Joe Tiller and Mike Price, I think the thing that changed me over time was being around RC and then finally with Bob, where there is a culture of growth, you know, and growth from within and loyalty. So, you know, I think, you know, Bob Stoops' tree and how his management style has really rubbed off on me a lot just because of the people you hire, the guys that you bring in that can do your job, and guys that aspire to do your job, and that's okay. And fortunately, you know, in year 7, we've got 4 guys I think that are head coaches now, and Dana and Cliff, Brian Poley, and Tony Levine. So, you know, you can probably add a couple more guys to that list here pretty quick. Hopefully not real quick, but there's some guys that are on this staff that have that potential, and I think that's how we've been able to attract guys that are here. And I think the ability to work within the parameters of what we want to do but still have your own personality has been appealing to these guys, and you know, hopefully that will continue.
I know he's pretty young, but do you see some of those potential head coaching qualities in Jake?
There's no doubt. No doubt.
Last week you opened up the SEC Network, obviously a big game. Then this week's game, maybe in years past, wouldn't be on TV, but it's on the SEC Network. What is that platform? I know it's still early on, but what has that platform done for you?
It does. It's great. You know, It's on everywhere in this building. I can tell you that. I learned more about the league than I've ever learned. You know, it's. I got to be careful because I'm learning stuff about other programs too. And that's why I'm getting a little bit guarded with what I'm saying. But no, it's been fantastic. I think the exposure is fabulous. And you know, I said before, you know, football is a big deal in the SEC. But you know, as you start looking at the, you know, really the first game for our university was our soccer program, right, last week. So, you know, they're on nationally right off the bat. And, you know, that's something that wasn't going to happen a year or two ago. So the exposure, not just for us, but the exposure for all of our programs, all our universities, I think that's a big deal. And it's going to open some doors maybe in recruiting from a national exposure standpoint that maybe some of our coaches didn't have. Does that make sense? And that's why we're excited about it. You know, it helps us, like you said, from this game being televised, which is always great for recruiting, great for exposure. But I think it helps all of our programs, and it's going to continue to do that. That's why the network's such a big deal.
How encouraged were you, Kevin, with up the middle defense and stopping the run?
I was really encouraged. You know, I think we got a ways to go. I think you know, our rushing numbers were down, but we turned it into, as Coach Spurrier said, you know, we turned it into throw it at every down kind of game. You know, when we got ahead. So those numbers are skewed a little bit. I think they're skewed both ways. You got to throw it every down. Your passing yards go up. Your rushing yardage goes down. So, you know, I'm interested to see over the next few weeks, you know, where we're going to be, how we're going to develop, particularly up front with the rotation, because we've got a better feel for guys now. We'll be able to play a lot more guys because we're at home. You know, and we only travel with so many players. And then there'll be some guys that play this weekend that may or may not, we may or may not had enough confidence going on the road and playing, but can stick them in and maybe get them in a rotation, maybe in a series, and just see how they handle everything, because we are at home. It's a little bit more friendly. There's not as much to deal with. And so, you know, it'll the next couple, 3 weeks, you know, we'll figure out really, you know, who we are defensively, I think.
On the housekeeping front, because they weren't in the participation chart, any update on Jarvis Harrison or Ellis?
On who?
Jarvis.
And Jarvis Harrison and Noel Ellis. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, Jarvis, I told you, had a really tough offseason. And, you know, he didn't go to South Carolina, and he's got some things he's got to complete to get back on the team, get back in our good graces. And when he completes those, he'll play. Noel Ellis, we'll have a conversation today about he had some health issues this summer, and you know, we're still trying to figure out whether or not we're going to redshirt him this year or he'll play. So we'll have a better feel for that this week.
Is it Jarvis Harrison, is he suspended? No,
I didn't say that.
No, I was kind of clarifying what.
I just said he's got some things that, just the way I said it.
Is he practicing?
Yeah.
Kevin, Kenny said that walk around campus, he's not going to take pictures. You talked to him about that. Is that Kenny or is that all players? Or
What do you mean?
He said he wasn't going to take pictures. He said that he wasn't going to take pictures.
It's his decision.
He said it was yours.
Well, I told these guys if they got something bad, just blame it on me. So you guys remember that last year. Johnny wouldn't do that a lot. I said, you know, it's if you don't want to do it, it's fine. That's what I'm here for. I'm the bad guy. So they don't want to do something, just say, Coach Sumlin told you not to do that. So he already took advantage of that. Good for him. Next time, but he needs to let me know next time before I come up here. We'll get that straightened out today too. That's part of having a young guy. You got to have that first. So.
Wait, to clarify, you didn't tell him not to take pictures?
No, I haven't told him. No, I didn't
Just
tell him.
make sure.
Yeah, but you know, that's okay. If we don't want to do that, then you don't want to do that.
Speak to the way I guess he's handled all this so far.
Yeah, he's, you know, it's interesting. You know, I didn't sit in there after the game and listen to his post game, and we try to move guys towards how they do things. And like I said, if you got something like that, just blame it on me. I forgot the next step is let me know. So it's like any relationship, you're growing together, so that'll be all right.
Coach, you told us throughout August how well he was doing, and y'all had a lot of confidence in him. But at any point, Thursday night, was he exceeding your expectations? You're thinking, wow.
I think I'd be crazy to stand here and say, oh yeah, we knew that was going to happen. It's if we knew that was going to happen, then we wouldn't have had a big controversy or anything like that. I think what it says is that as close as the competition was and still is, I mean, it's Kyle is not backed off. He's still competing, and I think that's good for both of them. I think it created, as I said, a sense of urgency during fall camp. I think the combination of the opponent first and the two created a sense of urgency for both of them to get better. And I said, just because when you say you got two quarterbacks, at Texas A&M, that doesn't mean you don't have a quarterback. We got two really good ones, and they're going to keep the pressure on each other to be good. Now, did we know that was going to happen? I don't think anybody could tell you that was the case. Maybe Kenny's dad, but that's about it.
Can you talk a little bit about Caleb Berry through 5 touchdown passes last week?
What's that?
Talk a little bit about Caleb Berry, the
Yeah.
quarterback from Lamar.
Yeah, I thought it was a great effort. We watched the video, and they do a lot of different things. It's going to be a test for us. They put up a bunch of points. They spread you out. They've got some talented players on the perimeter. I thought that their plan was excellent, and I've known Coach Woodard for a long time. I think that what's interesting in this game is that a lot of our players know each other, and there are a lot of players that are from this area, from the Golden Triangle, from all over the state, and they're anxious to prove that they belong. You've got some guys who have transferred from some other places that they'll be as excited to be in this new stadium as we are, and they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. So yeah, they do a nice job, and they spread the football around. They've got players that have been able to do some things at some other schools have come back and they're outstanding. So. We've got to continue, in my opinion, to create a pass rush this week. And we've got to be able to tackle in space, and we've also got to be able to shore up the inside of our defense when they run it. So this will be a good test for us defensively, as I talked about earlier, particularly in the spread formations, to see what we're going to be able to do either from a linebacker or nickel or dime standpoint, to be able to cover these guys and contain this quarterback and still be able to rush him.
Where do you expect to see the most improvement, Coach?
I'd like to see improvement across the board. That's the coach in me, I guess. We sat down and talked with our players about how we can improve individually and the things that you need to be aware of, that what people are telling you. They're talking about the big picture of who you are, and what we talk about in here is the real moving picture of who you are on a play-to-play basis and where you can improve. And so what I'm looking for is those types of improvements that that are tangible, that players we talked about. We from our statistical standpoint, there's a couple things that we talk about as a team, and we've got some goals that we look at every week, and those are tangible goals that I think we can reach, and we didn't reach those last week. So, those are the type of things we look at.